At that time, Judah separated from his brothers and settled near a man of Adullam named Hirah. There Judah saw the daughter of a Canaanite named Shua. He took her as his wife and united with her. She conceived and bore a son, and he named him Er. Then she conceived again and bore a son, and he named him Onan. Once more she bore a son and named him Shelah. She was in Kezib when she gave birth to him. Judah took a wife for his firstborn son, Er, and her name was Tamar. But Er, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, "Unite with your brother's wife, fulfill your duty as a brother-in-law, and provide offspring for your brother." But Onan knew that the offspring would not be considered his. So whenever he was with his brother's wife, he spilled his seed on the ground, so as not to give offspring to his brother. What he did was displeasing to the Lord, and the Lord put him to death as well. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Return to your father's house as a widow until my son Shelah grows up." For he thought, otherwise he too might die like his brothers. So Tamar went and stayed in her father's house. Many days passed, and Shua's daughter, Judah's wife, died. When Judah had finished mourning, he went to Timnah to those who were shearing his sheep, along with his friend Hirah the Adullamite. Tamar was told, "Look, your father-in-law is going to Timnah to shear his sheep." So she took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil, wrapped herself up, and sat down at the entrance of Onan, which is on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah had grown up, but she had not been given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute because she had covered her face. He turned aside to her by the roadside and said, "Let me come with you." He did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. She said, "What will you give me to come with me?" He replied, "I will send you a young goat from the flock." She answered, "Will you give me a pledge until you send it?" He said, "What pledge shall I give you?" She replied, "Your seal, your cord, and the staff in your hand." So he gave them to her and lay with her, and she conceived by him. Then she got up and went away, removed her veil, and put on her widow's garments again. Judah sent the young goat by his friend the Adullamite to retrieve the pledge from the woman, but he did not find her. He asked the men of that place, "Where is the prostitute who was at Onan by the roadside?" They answered, "There has been no prostitute here." So he returned to Judah and said, "I did not find her." And the men of that place said, "There has been no prostitute here." Then Judah said, "Let her keep the things, or we will become a laughingstock. Look, I sent this young goat, but you did not find her." About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot, and she is even pregnant because of her harlotry." Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." As she was being brought out, she sent word to her father-in-law, saying, "I am pregnant by the man to whom these items belong." And she added, "Recognize, please, whose seal, cord, and staff these are." Judah recognized them and said, "She is more righteous than I am, since I did not give her to my son Shelah." And he did not have relations with her again. When the time came for her to give birth, she had twins in her womb. During the delivery, one of them put out his hand And the midwife took a scarlet thread and tied it around his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But as he drew back his hand, his brother came out instead. Then she said, "How have you broken through?" So he was named Perez. Then his brother, who had the scarlet thread on his hand, came out, and he was named Zerah.